Welcome to Ask the Ma'ats. My name is Ayize Ma'at, and this right here is my lovely, my amazing, my gorgeous, my beautiful, my spectacular, my scrumptious wife, Fiona Ma'at.
Hi, hey everybody.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Hey, we decided to come to y'all really quickly because we wanted to do a video. It's extremely cold outside, y'all. It's freezing.
Yeah.
It feels like it's below zero, and so.
But it's actually below freezing.
Yeah, which is absolutely ridiculous. And so we wanted to do this video right here really quickly, because we want to know, like, what are some ways that you all actually heat up a cold relationship? Like, whether it be your current relationship or a relationship in the past, like, what are some things that you do to heat that relationship up? I know the missus and I, we find out ways to make our relationship hot and spicy and toasty and stuff. Like my wife, she's forever freezing. She's forever cold, y'all. Forever cold.
I'm like cold. I'm a cold person.
Yeah, she's a cold person. So she always, want to get comfortable and close and connected and put your hands here, your hands there, like you use me as your own personal heater.
A little bit. Yeah. But look, I think it may be helpful for us to define what it means to have a cold relationship.
That would be
right. Like some people may think of some things, and other people may think of different things. But essentially, having a cold relationship means that obviously there's no warmth. There may not be affection. There may not be the comfort or the safety that you should have in a relationship where you can kind of do like I'm doing right now and lean into your boo. Not just physically lean in, but when there's something going on in your world and you're feeling some type of way, where you can kind of look to them, you can lean on them, where they can connect in with you. So you don't have that safety, you don't have that emotional space in the relationship. That would be a cold relationship. A cold relationship would also be a relationship where there's a lot of animosity. There's a lot of bickering and a lot of fighting and a lot of, just kind of nastiness and pettiness, and everything is about defending your position.
Yeah.
And your agenda is not really about uplifting your boo, or anything like that. Your agenda is about getting what you want. What are you doing? You're pushing all kinds of buttons.
With the thing. I'm trying to see how this thing works. We normally go live on Zoom, y'all, and then connect it with
and
YouTube.
On Facebook.
And on Facebook. So I just wanted to see what it would be like. But yeah, you're absolutely right, baby.
There's all kinds of ways where people are just disconnected, and that's a cold relationship. It's the type of thing where you say, like, I could do this all by my damn self. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm coming in the house and you ain't here, and you got an attitude, and you ain't saying nothing, and blah blah blah. Right? Like, that's cold.
Yeah,
that's cold.
And some people are, like you just mentioned a second ago. Some people are cool with that. And they don't really necessarily realize the implications that existing in a cold relationship has, not only on themselves individually, but also on the family. Like, I mean, you think that you're living in a bubble, but the reality is that stuff, it spills out into your family relationships too. The family dynamics definitely get impacted when you walking around in this stank in your house, when you walking around in this frigid and your children see no affection. That becomes extremely problematic, because how do your children learn how to communicate with other people out here in the world? How do they learn how to resolve conflict with other people? I mean, if you and your partner can't resolve some stuff that y'all got going on, then the reality is that it's a good chance that your children may not necessarily learn the appropriate skills to negotiate difficult situations. So,
and don't think that because you don't argue in front of the kids,
that they don't know.
That they don't know. Don't think that because you don't ever say anything bad about their daddy or bad about their mommy, right? Like, they don't know. I'm telling you, time and time again, I sit with grown adults, my husband and I both, and the person tells us, like, I don't want the kind of marriage that my parents had. Love my parents both individually a whole lot, but actually they didn't really argue in front of me, but they weren't really affectionate. They didn't seem like they really cared for each other, and they had stuff going on. They thought we didn't know, but we knew. You know what I mean? And it just wasn't a good feeling in my house. Your children can feel the energy that's flowing through the house.
And sometimes they try to block too, y'all. Just yesterday, my son, my second to youngest son.
Blocking though. This is not connect. Where you getting ready to go?
Yeah, what I'm trying to make the point about is that
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you trying to cut me off and interrupt.
Like, I'm sorry. I'm just like, because okay, go ahead. I'm gonna let you go.
So what I was about to say is that children, they definitely feel the energy, and so they're paying attention to what it is that you do, how you flow, and how you move, and so you can benefit your children if you show up a certain way. But even if you show up a certain way, I got something on.
No, I'm just messing with your baby.
Sometimes your children, may play interference because it's uncomfortable for them. Like, for instance, yesterday, one of our children, our son, he tried to play interference with my wife and I. He'd actually put us on a 5 feet quota in terms of like we can't be within 5 feet of each other.
You think it is uncomfortable?
Yeah, I mean, he wanted to stand in between us when we was trying to kiss and be affectionate and stuff like that. But one thing I know for certain, y'all, is that your children are watching. Mm-hmm. So even though, I mean, as a 10-year-old, he's feeling uncomfortable and like, ew, y'all stop doing that. But what I do know for sure is that, when it comes to what he's witnessing what it means to be in a healthy relationship. And so that's one thing I know for sure that my wife and I, we represent. So in your family, in your household, are you in a cold relationship? And then what does that frigid experience look like for you? So my wife and I, we gave a couple of examples like no intimacy, no communication, poor conflict resolution skills. Like, what does the frigid experience look like for you? Mm-hmm. But once you've identified that you're in that space, I mean, how do you flip that thing around? How do you heat it up? How do you turn it around? Because you don't want to stay there. Mm-hmm. You don't want to stay there. The first thing to do is to definitely acknowledge that we got some issues that we need to work through. Mm-hmm. But after you acknowledge that it's been cold and it's been cold for some time, who gonna make the first move? I think that's the important thing. To change the temperature.
It's absolutely the important thing, but I don't want us to gloss over that acknowledgement. Some of us are so petty, and we have such huge egos that we don't want to even take the initiative to be like, you know what, I've been messing up. I haven't been giving you attention. Mm-hmm. I haven't really been paying attention to what you've been saying to me. I know I've been dismissive. I haven't been available, or I can be critical, or sometimes I do have a little temper, and, I can kind of take things to the left, whatever, right? Like, if you can't step in that place and just start there, then how is it that you're supposed to get from this cold place to at least room temperature? You may not be warm and cuddly off the top, but at least room temperature. Mm-hmm. You have to first acknowledge. You can't change anything you will not acknowledge. We say that all the time. And so I just want to challenge everybody watching right now, whether you're watching live or later on, just stop playing, start pushing, say what it is that you need to work on. Mm-hmm. Don't keep it a secret like he knows, I know, yeah, I could do better, whatever. Don't just move over that thing. Mm-hmm. The first thing you can do to heat up a cold relationship is say, this is my issue. Mm-hmm. This is where I be messing up. I do. And it's been a problem for a minute. Or, I haven't paid attention to it. Or, you know what? I actually don't think it's that big a deal. But you know what? How dare I say that? Why? I don't know why I feel like I keep needing to tell you that. Because clearly it's a big deal to you. And I'm sorry for that. I'm going to work on it. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't feel like it. Like, you have to start in that place of acknowledging where the disconnect is. It can't just be, we're not the way we used to be. There's a problem in the relationship, and you just kind of leave it real vague like that. What the hell is the problem? And how do you contribute to it? And if you keep coming to a place where you're like, well, it's really not me, it's him or it's her, whatever, then we already know you're not starting at the right place. There can be no issue that exists that does not have two players who are involved. And it's not your role. It is not your responsibility to point out the problem that your partner is bringing. It is your responsibility to get clear about and to own the part that you play. When you do that,
that's step number 2.
Own it.
Yeah, take ownership.
Because when you do that, you give your partner a push, a nudge, and some encouragement to own theirs. Well, dang, if she gonna go like that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to step into my thing. You understand what I'm saying? It's so easy for us to call each other out. Yeah. But the hard work and the hard part is really saying what we need to work on. So acknowledge just figure one thing. What's the one thing that you can acknowledge that is contributing to the coldness in your relationship? For example, you get in your feelings about something. And then your partner gets in their feelings. And then they start to come and make some moves towards you, or start to crack some jokes, or I don't know. As the day goes on or the next day, they start talking to you or whatever. But whatever it is that they're doing to try to reach out to you, you don't respond. Right? You don't give them any energy back. You stay cold. You want them to know, like, I'm not really talking to you. You know what I'm saying? You give them eyes, like, ain't nobody thinking about you. That's how you contribute in a negative way. You're not helping y'all to get unstuck and to get uncold, if that's a word, right? You're helping y'all to maintain the ice. So you have to be real about that thing, acknowledge it, and then own it, so that you can then begin to change little by little.
And it's so much easier for us to deflect and then to project
what does it mean to deflect?
Some of our own stuff. It's like you put up a shield. You basically, whenever somebody is saying that, actually identifying whatever issues you may have, you put up a shield and you kind of deflect that thing from you. You don't want to accept it. You don't want to take ownership of it. You want to push it back off into some other place, into, onto somebody else. And again, that's not what you want to do if you're trying to heat up a cold relationship. The important thing, again, is to acknowledge and then to take ownership. But after you do those two things, y'all, it's extremely important that you take action.
I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to see something, y'all. Work with me.
I'm saying rotate the device.
Okay,
right?
my bad. Okay, I'm sorry.
What you also want to do is take action, y'all. That's the third thing. Take action. So don't stay stuck in that same space, like expecting something different to occur in your relationship. If you recognize that you and your partner aren't really connecting or jiving like y'all need to be, then again, you need to get up off your butt and you need to do something. So whether it be you leaning into your partner like my wife is doing, even though she's looking kind of sleepy right now, doing that, or if it's you taking your partner out for a date, if it's you just going sitting next to your partner on the couch. I mean, any number of those things.
You learn to keep your mouth shut.
Keep your mouth shut or open
when you
your
want
mouth
to say something, because you be saying all the wrong stuff.
Yeah, these are all ways in which you can take action, which can shift the dynamic in a relationship and heat it up. And heat up the relationship. And so specifically, some of the things that we've done is we make it a priority to engage in weekly bath time ritual.
That's a lovely thing, y'all.
Yeah.
Bath time is a beautiful time at our house.
That's something.
Adult bath time.
Yeah. That's something that we do. Something else that we do is, when my wife is cooking in the kitchen, what I'll do is I'll go and I'll sit down at the island and just have conversation with her. So we're in constant communication, and I'm connecting in with her. It's not an isolated or separate experience where she's in the kitchen cooking. I'm sitting right there with her and talking to her. I might be on the computer, I might be on my phone, but again, I'm in her space. And what that lets her know is that I want to be a part of her world, because what she's doing is actually for the benefit of our world. So again, that's something that we also do too. Any other things that you can think of?
Well, we've said it lots of times that every week we make sure, and we've had time periods where we are not doing it, and I definitely notice it, and I'd be like, excuse me. But where we make sure that we get together and we, after the kids have gone to bed or whatever, we have our own time where, we're in the DMV, we can get some crabs or whatever, or we just, get some food and we sit down, we watch a movie together, we talk, we connect, but it's intentional. It's not okay, everybody's straight, ready for bed, whatever, and then he goes off on his own and I go off on my own. The evening time means it's us time.
Yeah.
And if there needs to be some separate time, it stands out. What you gotta do? Oh, okay. We actually have to connect in and say that to one another, because it's such a ritual for us. And that's what you need to have in your relationship. You need to have rituals that you can look to. I mean, I can be out in the middle of the day in a meeting somewhere and I'm looking forward to later on tonight, because I know we're going to watch Mary Jane and have a glass of wine and cuddle on the couch. I'm looking forward to that. It'd be 12:30 in the afternoon, but I can know that I can rely on that, and I expect to get that, and that gives me a place to look for some relief and some ability to exhale, and to connect in with my boo. So you got to develop rituals, whether it's stuff like that.
You could actually, if it's a favorite song that you have on the radio, send it to your partner. And then the song lets your partner know what it is that you're thinking about in terms of your relationship, or even thinking about them. So that's another way in which you can spice things up, because if they know that they're on your mind, even when, out of the blue, like it might be an out of the ordinary time in which you're sending this message, at least they have an idea that you're thinking about them in that moment. So then also send the text messages, y'all. You can get real creative with the text messages that you send.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. So these are just some ways that you can actually spice it up. And
you might want to play them lock joints on your text messages.
Yeah, pictures too, y'all. But you can spice it up by playing games, and it's just a number of different things that you can do. But the important thing is that just don't be stale, y'all. Don't be stale. Don't be stank. Recognize that in order for your relationship to heat up, you got to actually change the temperature on the thermostat. So you got to get up and make the change. You can't expect somebody else to do it. You can't expect for it to automatically come on. You can't expect for your partner to automatically come on. Put the responsibility on yourself to do something different.
Too many of us do that. I hear that so much. I heard that recently. Where people are like, well, when I see some more from you, then I'll do da-da-da. I'm tired. I'm tired of being the one to do this, to start this, to do that. You can't operate like that. It's not fair. I agree, it's not fair. But it really is the way it is. You know, in order for you to have a successful relationship, you have to think with a mindset of what can I give the relationship today? What can I give it? Not what am I getting out of it? I still ain't gotten what I'm looking for. He still ain't responded. She still ain't follow up with me. She don't initiate sex. He don't, do this, right? Like, you can't keep thinking like that. You have to figure out what can I give the relationship. And if you think like that and you say, every day I need to give the relationship something, like I need to water plants, right? And so they can grow. Every day I need to give something. Then there's no day that should go by where you're like, I'm still waiting. I ain't talking to him. No. What have you given today? So you have to think in that way, because that's what evidence has shown over time grows strong relationships. It is the small things that happen over time that grow the trust, that grow the bond, that grow the relationship from being a cold place to a warm place. That's what you have to do. Now, the reason I was picking up the little thing, because I'm like, did anybody make a comment? We can't see no comments, so I just want to apologize right now. We doing it from a different device than we normally use for YouTube. So I'm sure somebody done probably said something, and you might be asking a question or whatever. We're not ignoring you. We just can't see it. Yeah. So I just want to put that out there. But at the end of the day, guys, none of this stuff is going to work for you. None of it's going to do anything at all for you if you're not willing to take a risk and do something. Do something different. Turn that heat up in your relationships. It's a little cold outside. It might be a little cooler in the house. Get a blanket. Get next to your boo. Make a move. And stop playing.
And start pushing, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
All right, peace.